Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Cafe Karen demands to check my phone. After that, I got my patient busted for cheating by just doing what I was told. And after that, am I the jerk for asking my nanny who's employing who here? Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen gets busted for cheating. I've never been unfaithful to you, Mr. Reddit. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Cafe Karen demands to check my phone. I, 26, female, was in a cafe recently doing my work. Restrictions have loosened, so it's allowed, and I was using my phone to scroll through social media. I was holding my phone upright because I have bad posture, so I slouched like a turtle, and was minding my own business when this lady comes up and tells me to stop taking pictures of her. I wasn't. I told her I wasn't, but apologized if it seemed that way, and I explained I was just using my Instagram. She insisted that I was and demanded my phone to prove that I didn't have any photos of her. This may have been the part where I was the jerk. I told her no, and she said that if I hadn't taken any pictures of her, then I wouldn't mind. I told her it's a total invasion of my privacy, but if she still had an issue, I don't mind showing her my gallery in the presence of the cafe's manager. She then started to scream at me, claiming I'm stalling to delete the photos of her, but I stood my ground and refused to let her have my phone. Long story short, the manager of the cafe got involved and told her to leave. Her date, who had been sitting there the entire time, called me a jerk and left with her. My other friend, who was with me, told me that I was the jerk because I should have given her my phone to shut her up and avoid a scene. My reasoning was I don't know her, so I don't know what she's going to do with my phone, and I had offered her a peaceful compromise. Get the manager involved so there's a third-party witness, which she rejected. So here I am asking you guys if I'm the jerk. Edit. Okay, so this is blowing up much more than I expected. Just to answer some recurring questions. 1. I wanted a third party, the manager, to be involved because I didn't want her aggression to escalate and result in her snatching my phone, eventual screaming, and more accusations. 2. I did not involve the manager in the end. Her screaming did. 3. The private photos on my phone are office documents that my boss is alright with me keeping photos of, but doesn't want shared out in public. 4. There's a lot of incidents in my area where people steal phones using similar ruses, so I didn't want to risk it. I'm posting here because my social group is split on whether or not I'm the jerk. The cafe I was in actually had a notice that said they had in-house photographers who would be taking pictures for their social media app, and I did not intentionally point my camera at anyone. I had been looking downwards at my laptop, so my neck decided on its own to go to turtle position, so my phone ended up upright. I try to consciously tell myself to point it downwards, but I'm human. 8. I understand the concern a lady would have. I've also been on the receiving end of creeps with phones. That's why I offered to show her with the third party present. I also wanted a witness to confirm I did show my gallery and there was nothing there. Edit 2 to clarify. I understand the concern towards privacy and the prevalence of creeps out there. That's why I wanted a third party involved, in case she got more aggressive and accusatory and even snatches my phone. I don't need anyone else DMing me trying to get me to see her perspective. I do understand. That's why I was alright with letting her look with the presence of the manager. I didn't do it on the spot because she was getting aggressive, and despite me standing up for myself, I was scared. Just to put it out there, I did not demean/invalidate her concerns. I have banking apps and e-wallets on my phone. So yes, I was also scared that my money would disappear once I handed it to her. Yes, my friend is somewhat the jerk. She has apologized and we're still friends. I was told I'm thoughtless and disrespectful and the jerk for not being considerate of others when I hold my phone. I'm sorry I'm human and forgot to point my phone downwards. My neck was tired from using my laptop. Some of you out there are thinking I'm male. I'm not. Well, what do you think? Is OP a jerk for not letting Karen go through their phone or not? Please let us know. She should have just snatched it away instead of asking to see it. This Karen needs more training. I got my patient busted for cheating by just doing what I was told. This happened back in 2009. I was working part-time at a doctor's office while I was in nursing school. I was one of the receptionists and did all of the filing and cataloging and such. It was boring work, but the doctor, my boss, guaranteed me a job after nursing school, so that's why I did it. This particular doctor was an orthopedic surgeon. We had lots of patients coming in for MRIs, CT scans, and x-rays. This one particular patient, Frank, was scheduled to have surgery in a couple days, and he needed to come in and pick up his MRIs and x-rays from our office and bring them with him to his procedure. Yes, looking back at how backwards things used to be is so frustrating. All these things are 100% electronic now, and even back then they were too, but my boss was old school. So anyway, I called Frank to tell him to come pick up his images, but he didn't answer. I called him again during lunch, but still no answer, so I left a message. The following day I called him again, but still no answer. It was imperative that Frank got his images, or else he wouldn't be able to have his surgery. So I looked in his file to see if he had any other contact information. He listed his home phone number as well as his wife's cell. I called his house and left a message, and I also called his wife, Amy, but she didn't answer either, so I left her a message as well. The office manager, Diane, told me to just call whoever was listed in his emergency contacts, because if Frank didn't get his images and missed his surgery, then she would have to deal with a whole new stack of paperwork to reschedule him, and she didn't want to be bothered. I looked to see if there was an emergency contact, and Frank listed a woman named Helen. Relation to patient? Girlfriend. I told Diane I didn't want to call Helen when I had already left a message for Amy, as it would put me in an awkward position. Diane said that as long as the patient listed them as an emergency contact, I could call them. She also said that it's not uncommon for couples to be separated but still legally married for insurance reasons, and that this could possibly be the case for Frank and Amy, which I guess made sense. I really wanted to believe that no one would be stupid enough to put their secret lover as their emergency contact. I didn't want to get fired for being insubordinate, so I called Helen and she actually answered her phone. I was secretly hoping she wouldn't, and told her Frank's images needed to be picked up prior to his surgery. She came by during lunch, got the images, and then left. I immediately called Frank again to let him know that Helen picked up his images and to not worry about it. But this fool wasn't answering his phone, so I left him another message. A couple hours later, Amy called back and said she wasn't able to answer before because she was teaching, but she got our message and was coming to pick up Frank's images now that school was done for the day. I told her that the images had already been picked up. I tried to be as vague as possible. Amy, who picked them up? I know Frank is still busy at his office and hasn't had the chance to come get them. Me, again, trying to sound really vague. We called someone from his emergency contact list. Amy, was it his brother, Steve? Me, at this point I'm really nervous. No, not his brother. Well, then who? Me, Helen. Amy, who is Helen? I don't know anyone named Helen. Me, I'm not sure, but since she was on Frank's emergency contact list and no one else was answering their phone, we called her and she already came and got the images. Confused, Amy hung up. The following day was Frank's surgery. The day after Frank's surgery, my boss jokingly asked me, "What the heck did you do to that guy?" He came in all upset at me, saying that my secretary told his wife about his other girlfriend. I told my boss what happened and that Diane told me to call the girlfriend, and he understood. Diane tried to throw me under the bus by saying I didn't tell her that Helen was Frank's girlfriend and that I had told her Helen was just a friend and that she never would have given me the green light to call a patient's mistress. But I reminded her in front of my boss that she had said it was possible for Frank and Amy to be married but separated. This jerk was trying to cover herself because she probably thought it was some kind of HIPAA violation, but nothing ever happened. I was 18 years old at the time and just did whatever my superiors told me because I was really thirsty for job security after college, but I ended up not working there and went to work at a hospital instead. Am I the jerk for asking my nanny who's employing who here? I've had a nanny for 6 months. For the most part, I like her. She's great to the kids, 18 months and 5. But recently, I feel like we've had some issues where she's crossing boundaries. I don't mind getting advice, but I also feel like my house isn't being respected. For example, my kids' rooms are pretty much toy-free outside of their comfort objects. I want the rooms to be a place of rest, not playing. I told my nanny, please don't let my daughter play in her crib. She agreed, but later I come home and my daughter is in there with toys. We have a playpen downstairs if she needs to be contained, and the nanny is just watching her play. I gently reminded her a few times that I don't want toys in the bedroom, and she said okay, but it had happened again. Then on Monday, I saw it and said, hey, let's take her downstairs. And she snapped at me saying, she just woke up. I thought that was weird, but I let it go. Fighting it was an off day. I recently took my son's 5 Hot Wheels tracks away as a punishment. This was a last resort after talking lots and getting nowhere. I put them in the hall closet and said they'd be gone for 2 days. Let the nanny know the next day. She straight up told me that she didn't think that was a good idea. I said I appreciated her advice, but that I felt it was the right course of action. I come home that night and he's playing with them. I wait until my kids are with my husband to talk to her about it and ask why she undermined my authority. I asked if my son had asked for the tracks or was being mopey. No, she just felt like he had been good enough to get them back. I sat her down and said I wasn't happy with how she had been bending rules. She said she just didn't agree with them. I asked, "Who's employing who here? I need you to back me up." She got quiet and then left for the day. Well, today I get a text that she's quitting. She says me throwing that I was the boss back in her face was an overstep. My husband is saying what I did was wrong too. The kids and I will miss her, but I'm torn. Am I the jerk? ETA. Many have found my no toys in the bedroom rule weird. Let me explain. I used to split it. Half toys in my son's room, half in our playroom. Then he started waking up and playing with toys rather than sleeping. He got no sleep, so we moved the toys downstairs and he's been fine ever since. They can play in their rooms, but the toys go back downstairs at bedtime. They're also not just sectioned to the playroom. They play in the den, the kitchen, the yard. They just don't have toys outside their favorite stuffed animals while sleeping. Most of my kids' day is play. They're not neglected, they just sleep when it's time to sleep. ETA 2. I also never said this is how all families should work. It's how my family works. Everyone is different. Well, who do you agree with? OP or the nanny? Please let us know. Let me know if you need me to write a Yelp review for her. I'll make her pay for her insubordinance. New host throws in my face that he makes more money than me and says he's my boss when he's not. So, I'm honestly really speechless right now. It's the middle of the night for me and my mind is still reeling. I'm honestly a little heartbroken. I love my job. I love working in the industry I do, but this has taken the cake for me. I'm a server/host for work. I'm currently working 3 jobs to just make ends meet for me. At my one job where I've been hosting, it's a new restaurant. I was promised by the GM to be a server a month after opening, which would have been mid-August. He's been telling me to just wait until he hires more people, so I waited. And now it's been almost 3 full months. We hit the 1-month mark when we finally hired a new host. We have 3 girls, but they can't work weekdays due to school. He was a slightly older man who was retired but enjoyed working. I trained him on the computer system we use, just like I trained all of our other hosts. I'm making $10 an hour. I was told by the owner 2 weeks in he wants to give me a raise. By the month time frame, I checked with the GM on it, and he said they want to raise the host pay, but can't at the moment. I'm like, okay, I get it. We're new, no big deal. I can make do for a little. Now the GM decided to make the male host the matter day. Essentially, he wants the host to check on tables and make sure the service is running smoothly. Now, being the fact that I'm the lead host, I make the schedule for us weekly. I make his schedule as well. I'm doing so. I noticed he was making significantly more than me when he was only scheduled 4 more hours than myself. I confront my boss immediately, and he tells me it's a glitch in the system, and no, he doesn't make more than me, but that the agreement apparently is how I either serve or have a raise. I shut my mouth because I know serving here would be good money. This was 3 weeks ago. Tonight, the host and I worked together. I set the floor plan up and went over it as normal with my manager. I'm running the floor as I always do, and the host is seating for me. Later in the night, he comes up to ask about a table who requested outside but booked inside. I have nothing for them outside, as we were booked out and it's a 5 top. We need 2 tables for it. The host proceeds to tell me that we just seat them at 1 table, which I would do normally, but I have another 5 top that is booked for outside, and I know they didn't want to feel cramped. I explain and essentially say no. He tries to tell me what I need to do. I veto him by explaining I spoke with the guest myself and our manager. The guest would have to seat inside, and if another table opens outside, I would happily do so. So my outside booking guest comes in, and I see that the tables I set aside for them were split. I go outside and ask the host nicely to put them back, please, as the guest doesn't want to be cramped. The conversation as follows. Him. Well, did you even really ask if they were okay sitting at 1 table? Me. Yes, I just spoke with them again and they said no. Like I said earlier, the other guest booked inside and made a request for outside. She made the booking after the outside was filled, so no, she has to come inside. And I spoke with her before and she said it's fine. I will admit, I said it a little harshly as my patience was running very thin. Him. Look here, girl. I'm the boss of you, and I make more money than you. You don't tell me what to do. Me. Excuse me? No crap. I know you make more, and that's BS. I've been here for 3 months busting my butt. Me and the other 2 hosts deserved a raise before you, and you're not my boss. I pretty much yelled at him without alerting guests. I went inside and went straight to my manager. We didn't speak much, but I made it clear I know what's going on. He unlocked the office to let me cool down as I was literally shaking. I've been busting my butt at this job. I trained all the hosts. I put my other job to the side to meet them first. When they cut lunches for the schedule, I started doing deliveries to make ends meet. My boss knows I'm going broke and lied to my face. And the fact that a man thinks just because he makes more than me that he's my boss? My manager told him to his face that he is not my boss. Only manager and owner are. And the fact he even thinks it's appropriate to throw that in someone's face? I couldn't believe it. I have an interview tomorrow for a better company. I have an outstanding reference from one of their own bar managers whom I worked with before. I'm willing to quit my job to start fresh and new. I don't like doing that. I always put my 2 weeks in, but I refuse to be any person's doormat. Edit to add. So I just left the interview and the manager I spoke with absolutely loves me. She wasn't able to pull up my resume, so I was able to speak with her more in person in depth about my experience and my growth in the industry. She said she can't wait to pass me over to the general manager and to expect a call from them tomorrow or by the latest Monday. Yay! And from what she was describing to me, along with my friend, they foster a very family-positive environment. The owners are very involved and happy to train for positional growth, and I will actually have benefits at this job, which will be nice. Am I the jerk for being upset and leaving when my sister-in-law stole my pregnancy announcement? I, 36, female, found out that I'm pregnant. I'm overjoyed as I've always wanted a child of my own. I focused on my career in my life, and since I am single, I wasn't sure if having a baby would ever happen. I was excited to tell my family the big news. My older sister has 1 kid, my nephew, who's 7. My brother is married, but he and his wife have made it very clear that they will always be child-free. Last night we had a family dinner, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to share the news. Since this will be my only child, I wanted to make it special, and I also wanted to involve my nephew. I got a shirt that read, "This is what an awesome big cousin looks like." I slipped away with my nephew before dinner and had a special moment with him while I told him he was going to have a cousin. My nephew was very excited and put on the shirt. He put his sweater on over it, and I told him he could take the sweater off whenever he wanted at dinner. In the middle of dinner, he took off the sweater and waited for someone to notice. Soon, my sister jumped up and excitedly screamed when she saw the shirt. They all then immediately assumed it was my sister-in-law. I wasn't hurt by them assuming this, and I kind of expected it because she's married. I was hurt because my sister-in-law didn't try to correct them. She just went along with it and began to rub her flat belly while laughing. I must have looked completely hurt because my mother yelled at me to stop being rude and to congratulate them. I tried to explain that I was the one who gave my nephew the shirt. They all didn't even hear me and just continued to fawn over my sister-in-law. My brother stood frozen in shock, just asking his wife if she was serious. I got up and went home. I received multiple texts at this point from them telling me what a jerk I was for making this about me. They said things like, "It wasn't sister-in-law's fault that I was jealous." I didn't reply to anything and just cried myself to sleep. This morning, my sister-in-law must have finally let it slip that she's not pregnant. They have now all called me to apologize, saying that they just got caught up in the moment. They said I shouldn't have left the dinner and that it's my fault I wasn't clear enough that I was the one who was pregnant. My mom said I could have a redo dinner so I can get it right, and they will all act surprised. My sister-in-law sent me a message that said the way I chose to announce was how she wanted to do it if she ever got pregnant. She said that since she's not ever having a kid, that she just wanted to experience what the moment would be like. She also said I can have my chance at the redo dinner. I told them no, and I will not be doing a redo. Every single person has now told me I'm being selfish and a jerk because I won't let them make it right. To me, there's no fixing this. I will eventually forgive them, but I don't want to do a second announcement so they will feel better. Am I the jerk? Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or not? Please let us know. Karen tries to cut me in line, gets shut down. This happened to me back in the day at Wally World. It was a very busy day. My husband and I had just finished our shopping, so I was standing in line waiting to cash out. Now the lines were very long, really long. There's at least 8 people behind me, and I was probably at least the 4th person before the cashier in line. My husband stepped away to find some beverages for us to drink on the way home since it was still warm outside. This lady, our Karen of the story, was standing near the coolers that are near the registers. She was acting like she was looking in the coolers for something. She put her hand on my card as if to steady herself, so I moved my card back just a smidge so she could look in the cooler without having to touch my card. I tried to just ignore her. I'm not the type of person who likes to converse with people I do not know. I have severe social anxiety. She continues to look in the coolers, but lets go of my card. The line continues to move slowly, but I'm now at least 3rd in line. So you can understand, the Karen never said a word to me. She continues to look in the cooler as if she's looking for something. Now, for some ungodly reason, Karen firmly grabs the end of my card, holds onto it, yells to someone, and motions for them to come over. I looked over to see what looked to be a neckbeard. He was probably at least 6 feet tall, every bit of 300 pounds, and actually had a neckbeard. I really wish I was making this up, but I am not. Karen says to neckbeard, "Come over here, right here," as she motions for him to get in front of me. Now, this Karen never once said a word to me, nor did she even ask if she could get in front of me. I turned around and looked to see that there is at least 12 people standing in line behind me. Karen's neckbeard had a cart that was overflowing and was expecting to get in front of me without asking. I did the only thing that I could do. I pushed my cart forwards and said, "Nope, nope, nope." Karen takes her hand off my cart, steps back like I just ran over her foot, and stands there with a surprised Pikachu face, with her lips flapping open and closed. She then looked around to see if anyone would help, looking panicked as if she needed help, but no one would help her. I happened to overhear the lady behind me say, "Darn right," as she closed the gap between us. I also saw the man behind her as he moved forward to close the gap. He was just shaking his head. I heard a few chuckles from the crowd that was watching all of this. No one was going to stand up for Karen. An injustice had been done to her, but no one was going to help her. Neckbeard then says to her, "But Mom, the line is long. Where do I go?" Karen just says, "Let's go down here," and walks away with Neckbeard. I never laughed so hard in my life. I could not believe that I acted so quickly to stop her. Proved to my manager that it's better to warn customers of closing time. I used to work at a store that was open until 2 a.m. every night of the week. So, as you can imagine, when 2 a.m. rolled around, I was always ready to get out of there. Around 1:45 a.m., I would walk around and let each customer know individually that the store was closing in 15 minutes and ask them if they needed help finding anything before then. I did this for about 4 months working there and never had a problem, other than the occasional super rude customer who would completely ignore me and keep shopping until like 2:30 or 3 or whatever. Or occasionally, especially on weekends, drunk people would come in after 2 a.m. and just ignore that we were closed because we weren't allowed to lock the door or turn anyone away. Usually I was alone by 1:45 since business really slows down, but one night my manager was still there. When she saw me go up and tell customers the store was closing in 15 minutes, she was mad. She told me I could never tell a customer the store was closing. She said it was incredibly rude and put too much pressure on them. Fast forward to a few weeks later. I've still been giving customers a 15-minute heads up because frankly, I don't think it's rude to tell someone your store is about to close, especially at 2 a.m. Here is when I see my opportunity. A lady had come in around 12 a.m. She seemed pretty out of it and was wandering around the store aimlessly the whole time, but occasionally bringing something to the counter, asking me to hold it, then coming back and asking me to put it back because she changed her mind. I had the feeling she could spend all night wandering around the store, so I decided that this would be the one customer I wouldn't warn about closing. 2 a.m. rolls around and I say nothing, and I proceed to say nothing all the way until 4:45 a.m. when she finally leaves the store. I literally got a call at 8 a.m. the next day from my manager, furious that I had closed the store almost at 5 a.m. I innocently told her that the lady was still busy shopping the whole time, and I remind her that it's extremely rude to tell a customer the store is closed. The next night when I went in for my shift, they had made the 15-minute warning a universal rule. We were all supposed to warn customers the store was closing. Plus, we were supposed to turn people away if they showed up after 2 a.m. Score. Afterward, I admitted to my other coworkers I had done it intentionally to show management how dumb their decision was. And I'm glad I did it because we never had to let another person into the store after 2 a.m. again. Entitled Mom demands I buy her and her kids food. Just putting this out there that if I knew beforehand that this entire thing would happen, I'd still let it happen. There's a local burger place in my area that I visit regularly. It's normally empty during the week, but on this day, for whatever reason, there were a few more people in there than usual. I was with a close friend, we'll call him Carlos. I just wanted to hang out with him and get some food. We're standing in the line and talking for about 2 minutes when Entitled Mom and her 2 boys, I'd guess they were about 10, walk up behind us. One kid starts fussing and whining that he's hungry, and this seemingly triggers the other kid to do the same. Carlos and I just shrug it off and eventually get up to the front of the line and we order our food. Carlos orders before me, but I let the cashier know that I'd be paying for both mine and his meal. This was a mistake. Before I even get my wallet out, Entitled Mom shoves me out of the way and says, "I'd like to add to his order," and proceeds to order over $40 worth of food for her and her 2 kids. I asked her what she thought she was doing, and she said, "I saw you pay for that guy, Carlos, so I'm sure you wouldn't mind buying food for a single mother and her 2 kids." Normally, I would have considered that if she, asked first, but who in their right mind thinks it's okay to do what she did? I tell her that I won't be paying for any of her food and that she's setting a bad example for her kids by trying to get free stuff from people. That comment upset her, and she started getting all up in my face. I'm not sure if that was meant to intimidate me, but I'm 6'2", and that lady was no taller than 5'5". She raised her voice, saying, "Don't you dare tell me how to parent my kids. You have no idea what it's like being a single mom and raising 2 boys on your own." I retort, saying, "Yeah, you're right. I don't know what that's like, but I wasn't the one who told you to get knocked up. Twice. So I really don't want to hear your single mom excuse for being a jerk." "Who the heck do you think you are talking to me like that?" The guy who up to 2 minutes ago you had no problem trying to spend his money?" "I work 2 darn jobs to provide for my kids, and you think it's okay to stand here and disrespect me?" "You disrespected me by cutting in front of me and assuming that you'd get free food from me. I don't know what world you're living in, but you need to come back to Earth." "Me and my kids are hungry, and you can't even be nice and help us out?" You literally ordered $40 worth of food for yourself and 2 kids at possibly the cheapest place in town. That isn't just helping out. And you and your kids being hungry still doesn't make you entitled to free food. You pay just like everyone else in here. Entitled Mom stopped shouting. "I don't have any money. How would you feel if you were in my situation?" "Listen, lady, you're not getting free food off me. If you just asked, I would have been more inclined to be nice and help you. But you clearly think that being a single mom with 2 kids is supposed to make everyone around you do whatever you say, and the world doesn't work that way. So pay for your own food and stop wasting my time." Entitled Mom just looked at me angrily and didn't answer. At this point, everyone in the restaurant is looking and listening to the conversation. My buddy Carlos is about ready to sock her, and the people behind us in line are hungry and clearly unhappy. I tell the cashier to remove whatever she ordered, and I pay for my food. I thought that would be the end of it, but boy, was I wrong. Entitled Mom orders her food again after, and angrily forks over the money she clearly had and pays for all her food. Carlos looks at me and asks, "What the heck just happened?" To which I respond, "Your guess is as good as mine, bro." We get our food and are about to leave when Entitled Mom shouts out, "Those 2 guys harassed me." And we turn to see the manager of the restaurant. She goes on to say that I harassed her and she wanted the cops called on me immediately. This lady clearly forgot that the entire store witnessed the entire thing, and no one was having it any longer. I didn't need to say much to defend myself to him before the entirety of the store started shouting and screaming at her for holding up the line and falsely accusing me of things. I'm pretty sure the lady got scared because without collecting her food, she took her 2 kids and ran out of the store. Carlos and I looked at each other and started dying of laughter, and a few other people did as well. We apologized to the manager and everyone else for the inconvenience and left the store. We haven't stopped laughing about it since then. Please come watch this video next, you will love it. And huge shout out to our newest channel member, F.E. Bullock. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Join as a channel member today and we'll give you a special shout out in our next video. And to have us make any kind of video you'd like us to, just come visit us on Fiverr, link pinned in the comments below.